So 20th Century Studios and the director of 10 Cloverfield Lane bring us a brand new, fresh entry in the Predator franchise that will hopefully wash away the sour taste of a lot of the other things we've gotten over the years. But let's see how everything turns out with Prey. In 1719, Naru, a young Comanche woman, is a fierce and highly skilled tracker who believes she can become a revered warrior of the Great Plains. When danger threatens her tribe, she sets out to protect her people and prove her worth. The prey she stalks and ultimately confronts turns out to be a highly evolved alien predator with a technologically advanced arsenal, resulting in a vicious and terrifying showdown in the unforgiving wilderness. So Prey was released on August 5th, 2022, on Hulu in the United States and on Disney Plus in international territories. And like I said, it comes from the director of 10 Cloverfield Lane, Dane Trachtenberg, who've been developing this entire idea with screenwriter Patrick Asen since about 2016, which predates when the entire Shane Black entry in the franchise happened, which kind of really tanked a lot of things and the potential of the franchise, and probably is a large reason why this one went straight to streaming instead of being a theatrical release, because the last one did so poorly, and even Predators, as I kind of like it, and some people do, didn't really kind of hit the traction either. So it's been like a lot of false starts with this franchise going forward, trying to get something that seems like a good concept. You can resell it and do something else here and there, or get some interesting talent involved, and never really struck fire. But you get into this whole thing with them kind of dealing with a certain concept here that's very interesting. It goes back a long way, further back to 2016, because this idea of kind of like going back a couple hundred years and showing like the first hunt of the Predator on Earth was actually something Jim and John Thomas were kind of dealing with when they're setting up that entire thing at the end of Predator 2, where Danny Glover's character of Mike Harrigan gets that flintlock pistol from the old Predator, kind of signaling like there's a history here. There's a deeper history. You could go back and tell other tales. They're not set in the modern day. And that never really happened back then, but Dan Trachtenberg and Patrick Asen grabbed onto this concept, and like living hell, this film, watching this whole thing, it's like, one, I wish this thing was theatrical because it is a goddamn experience. There's such a great quality of this film, so many great qualities with this film to really experience this thing on like a massive screen, great sound system, all these different things, because one, the cinematography in this film from Jeff Cutter, just excellent stuff. Just like there's such a great sensibility of shooting in this anamorphic format, the wide cinemascope format here. They get great landscapes in this whole thing, just the wide open skies you have with this whole thing. It just kind of like begs to be seen on a big screen. So much so, just like watching this thing, it's just like the visuals are so very good. Grasping all these landscapes and the forestry and all the open plains, stuff like that. Such a great use of the environment they have here, going off in the forest and all these different places. Really uses it so much to the advantage of the story, just using so many great visuals to tell the story so much and give into that tension, that suspense that you had so much from the first film, and the successive films of the franchise have struggled to replicate. And Dan Trachtenberg does such a great job honing in on atmosphere, a mood on this whole thing. I got so many different points in this entire film where I just felt like the tension ratcheted up. I started feeling things. When you're getting attached to so many characters in this film and how well it's scripted, so smartly scripted, you really start grabbing those moments where like you really have to feel for what's going on in the film, for all these the skills and the craft and all that type of stuff to really have its effect on you. And it absolutely did. I did watch this thing twice, setting up to get into the review. So it's like, the thing is so very much effective on so many different levels to get the action, but also the blend of the horror in there as well. So many things like this entire film executes action so extremely well. There's even this one sequence, like, I was watching the film the second time, it's like, was that a whole one-take action sequence I just watched? I had to rewind the film, check, is like, that's so well done. So extremely well done with the cinematography, the choreography, everything, just like everything is put together so very well. Doesn't draw attention to itself, but so well executed, you're just enveloped in the moment to see all this action play out so very well and see the tension and the graphicness in the entire film, just like there is a brutal Predator film. It's not like mean-spirited like Predator 2, but it's like it has that edge. It has that brutality to it that I think is absolutely necessary to sell the quality of not just the Predator, but the actual people who are protagonists in the film. To see that there's skilled fighters, skilled hunters as well. To see that dichotomy between the two. All the type of stuff. It's so well handled. It's like when the Predator does start offing people and start chomping people up, goddamn, it's great. It's smart, it's innovative, it's inventive in all these different amazing ways. I like how they take a lot of the technology you had for the Predator and kind of step it back a little bit. They know how to draw it back a little bit here and stuff like places. So it's like, it doesn't have like a plasma beam, but it has this nice little kind of like spear gun type of thing. All these little things, little extra pieces of the puzzle and stuff like that, actual tools that kind of maybe got phased out later on by certain other Predators down the line, but it's like smart little things that probably got upgraded later on, but it's like it's a nice sort of way to still make it threatening, but still step it back to have a bit of a different technology here. So it's such a great type of thing. So you have all the protagonists using, some use guns, but most of it's like bow and arrows and axes, tomahawks, stuff like that. So it's like, it's such a great, smart way everything is put together, and so much the flow of the film. It's such a great thing based on so many great qualities. Like I said, the cinematography, the editing, the music I'll get to later on, and of course, just everything involved with writing characters, performing the characters. So much comes into the fruition of this film through the action so much. Because that's what you're mainly there for, but it tells such a good character-based story here with all the regular Predator elements on top of it, but everything feels fresh. It doesn't feel like you're going through the same motions, seeing a lot of the same stuff. You know, it has similar setups. You're seeing a lot of interesting things, like you're playing it like it is the Predator's first time on Earth, so it's observing wildlife, seeing how the Predators and the prey in our natural settings and stuff like that kind of combat one another, and it's kind of observing that and kind of picking up not just humans, but it's picking out all the Predators in wildlife, stuff like that, in nature. So it's like, it's a great, smart way to see how the Predator observes our nature and all these different things. It's such a great way to script it and perceive it in such a way. And you see such a great balance on that type of thing. Nice reflections here and there between our main protagonist of Naru and the Predator itself. So it's like they did such a great job having that smart sensibility that does go a lot back to the material in this film. So much. There's all these smart little moments that are visual, but also story and character based to move all the different elements of the story forward. And I can tell you flat out, Amber Midthunder is fantastic in this film. Just an absolutely excellent performance from start to finish. Magnificent. She's just got so many great qualities throughout this entire film. I like the fact that Naru is just this character who has a great strength to her, just like this self-belief in what she can do. She's this young woman in this tribe that wants to prove herself. She knows what she can be. She knows she can be a hunter, be a fighter, stuff like that. She knows she can do these things. She has this self-confidence about herself to kind of stand up to everyone else when they're kind of doubting her in some places. Stuff like that. So when some people are challenging her, she steps up against that and stuff like that and proves herself. I like the entire film is her constantly trying to prove herself over and over again, build herself up to be exactly what she knows she can be by hunting this thing that's taking out other people in her tribe. And just like she knows there's this big beast out there. She doesn't know exactly what it is, but she's intent on following it through because she wants to be what she knows she can be and also protect her own people. I like all these qualities she brings. Just like there's one great quality she really does have. She's got these wonderful expressive eyes in the entire film, just like big eyes. As you can see, the depth of emotion, the intensity, the fear, all these different things, the wonder and the awe, and all these different qualities. Like, it's so penetrating what she does, reacting to certain things in the entire film. It just feels so strong on screen to penetrate to the audience, to make you feel what she's going through, and just from all the ranges of different things, the determination she has, the drive she has, all these different qualities she has, just like it's so well shown through everything she expresses through the entire course of the film. I just absolutely love her in this film. She is absolutely awesome. Completely awesome. Everything is powerful and very smart. Everything she does in the entire film is a very smart performance here, but she still has vulnerability. She goes against all these different creatures in nature. This giant bear she's got to go after, and it's like she's not entirely capable of dealing with it. but she keeps crawling and clawing through the situation to deal with it and kind of come up over top of things. So it's like, I love that quality about the character, and she portrays everything absolutely amazingly. She's awesome in the entire goddamn film. I absolutely love every moment. Everything they gave this character to do, everything she drove home for the character, every little thing comes together in such a powerhouse performance here. I just absolutely think she's amazing. Just an absolute star in this whole film. You got Dakota Beavers here, playing her brother of Toddy, just like he does such a great job. He's so good as well. As like, his character was kind of a little protective of her, just a little bit. I think she's kind of maybe biting off more than she can chew, stuff like that, overextending herself, trying to be more headstrong than really she should be at this point in time, not having proven herself in any kind of battles or whatnot. Very skilled tracker, a good healer, but he doesn't entirely think that she's ready to do this type of stuff. So he's got this nice quality of like this natural leader, this level-headed sensibility, this rational mind that he has, along with a heartfelt quality. He never completely dismisses her altogether. He's just got this protective quality about himself, but as the film goes along, the relationship builds up further. His belief in her builds up further. All these different things. I love this entire quality between the two of them, how he handles himself on screen. It's just a fantastic, honorable nobility that brings the entire character here. Just like it adds such a warmth to the character overall. Just the sensibilities you want to have. There's like, there's some other people in the tribe that treat her a little bit lower and stuff like that, but he's always quick to kind of like cut you off and say like, she's worth like a fair chance. Don't dismiss a tactic that she brings up in certain places. It's so smart in how it's written, but also how he portrays the character, carries himself on screen as a sort of very honest, patient, but also a very seasoned warrior here. It's a great role for him. He just does such a great job, and just like magnificent casting across the board in this whole film. You got Dane DiLiegro doing the actual Predator here. I like so much that he brings some of the similar elements you know from the Predators, the best interpretations of them. But there's such a much more feral, fierce type of quality here. Just there's something extra on top of it. It's a little bit intangible. There's like, it does feel like a different entity, a different personality in a certain way, but still very identifiable as a Predator. Same as the design done from Studio ADI, who worked on a lot of the other Alien films and a couple of the Predator films, stuff like that. It's still the same species, but you can see that they put in attention, like, not every element of every single species, and not every individual of the same species looks identical. There's always certain different traits, maybe a different darker skin color, maybe a different design to the mandible, stuff like that. I think they did a really good job of this, where been some times in the franchise before you've tried to go off in a little bit of a different direction and it doesn't quite work so well. This one I think hit a really good beat. I think it found a really good way to make it distinctly different while still making it recognizable as the Predator in so many different ways. I like the different headpiece of the helmet and stuff like that. Just like the little traits it puts in there to kind of dial it back a few hundred years while still making it an advanced species that can still fly in spaceships makes it very good. They really did a calculated, very measured job to create a different style here that worked very, very well. I think a lot of the CGI stuff is very impressive. Maybe a few minor bits that feel maybe a little bit less than excellent, but it's like it comes off so very well. They had a lot of CGI animals in some places where you're doing a lot more fights and stuff like that. It's like there's some great sequences in that regard that just come off extremely well. Just like it just adds so much to the entire film. The cloaking dice looks absolutely fantastic. The gore is exquisite all over the place. There's plenty of gore to go around in this film, and actually just it satiates the desire so much. It's such a good piece of work on terms of all the effects, practical and digital, all that type of stuff. Nailed the hell out of it. And getting into this whole thing where, like, okay, we've had the same sort of Predator music going on for most of the franchise stuff. Starting with the Alan Silvestri stuff, then eventually move into a little bit of the AVP stuff. Then you had John Debney on Predators, and I don't even remember what the hell they did the last film. But you're stepping back a few hundred years. You want to kind of go off in a different direction here. You want to have a different feel for the film. You want to have a different style to it. You're not going to go with the same thing overall. You want to kind of reapproach it. I think they did a great job on that regard. Sarah Schachner, I think that's how you pronounce her name. I think she did a fantastic job with this entire score. It has such a great quality. It just kind of slightly divorces itself from just like the box you had all the other Predator films in. Same as the entire concept, the entire approach From a direction and artistic standpoint in this film, the music opens itself up. It takes on different flavors, different pieces of the culture, stuff like that. Different ways of doing the instrumentation. It still uses the Alan Silvestri theme, but it's orchestrated in a completely different way to create an entire different feel for it that feels a little bit more primitive in a certain way. So it's not quite as lean and militaristic feeling. It feels a little bit more tribal in a certain way. I like that quality. Everything comes off greatly because there's these wonderful cues in the entire film that feel sweeping and they feel like almost emotional, a little bit more heroic in a certain place. Like it just brings a little bit more heart into the characters when you need that moment here to open it up to the characters, open it up to the emotion you want to feel for Naru and all these other characters in the film. It really creates so many great things. I really like what was done with the score. It feels fresh and new, same as everything else in this entire film. It did such a great job to really bring those elements in to kind of swirl around and use different instruments and different approaches and different ideas. Don't just hold yourself to the exact same things because that's not what the film's doing anymore. Even though it's recognizable as a Predator film, it feels fresh, it feels different, it feels like probably the best thing since the original. I like, aside from the last film, which was a piece of crap that Shane Black somehow was involved with, writing and directing it, God knows what happened there, I think is bad, really, really bad. I like the first three Predator films. I watched the first Alien vs. Predator. It's not great. It's kind of just at best it's a mediocre film, but it's like, I like Predator, Predator 2, and Predators. I like those films for different reasons. They have their own different flavors and different tastes and different directions and different things they want to go with. This feels like really this feels so goddamn good. Like I said, this film just has quality of character depth. It's got the tension, the suspense, the atmosphere that you really want. You're kind of craving all this time to really get that back into it. It still has all those great, innovative pieces of smart action. Taking all these little things that just like this smart for the character to do. It just adds so much to the entire film to see that you've got a fantastic lead here. I think it's absolutely phenomenal what Amber Midthunder does in this entire film. Incredible stuff. And all the action, again, is put together so very well, along with a story that does feel emotional. I felt those emotions at certain times, gut-wrenching stuff the entire film. When you get attached to these different characters and terrible things start happening to them, you feel it because the action and the gore and everything, it's R-rated. It's straight to the gullet, all these different things. You feel it when people start getting slashed up and fucked up and all the type of stuff with the goddamn Predator. It feels absolutely real. You feel different things. You just feel the tension, the impact of all these things. It's a fantastic film. Like I said, I've already watched it twice. And I absolutely would love to I would still love to see this on the big screen. Put it up on the biggest screen I can find. I would absolutely go and pay for it. I need to get this thing. I hope they put this on physical because Hulu is a bit of a weird freaking platform because on my setup, now my TV and stuff like that, I can't get 5.1 surround. I can get 4K. I can't get 5.1. I have to screen mirror it from my iPhone onto my TV and run it through my receiver to get 5.1 sound. I'm not really a big fan of why they're not quite up on that type of stuff with all when you got Disney Plus and Netflix and all this type of stuff. They've got Dolby Vision and Dolby Atmos stuff and all these different things. Hulu's trailing behind things, so it's like, the stream doesn't look the best you possibly could. It's like, I'd love to see this on high bitrate 4K disc. All the great things going on with like HDR and all the fantastic surround sound would be absolutely phenomenal. This film's great. It's absolutely great. You guys need to watch this film. Absolutely positive. I give it 100% wholehearted recommendation. I could go on and on about it because it's just a really fantastic piece of filmmaking. Give me more of this. If this is any inkling about what they're developing for the Alien TV series from Noah Hawley, give me it. Because Alien franchise is almost in more dire need of some kind of salvation right now because you haven't had a great Alien film in fucking decades. I like Alien 3, the special edition, but is not well regarded in it overall. But it's like, if you got like Alien Resurrection and now, again, AVP films are on their own section of different things. But the Ridley Scott prequel stuff is not going over terribly well. If you can get us a new series that's going to take a brand new, fresh direction like this thing is going for, I'd absolutely welcome it. Give me something fresh. Give me something new. If you can reinvent these franchises and show that there's still lifeblood in them to do new, fresh things with it while still make it recognizable as what it was, Abso-fucking-lutely. Give it to me. I would love to see more of this type of stuff. Dan Trachtenberg, you're on my fucking radar now. I'm late to the party, but I guess I'll have to go see 10 Cloverfield Lane at some point in time and see just how great that film was. But this is amazing. Guys, you need to see this if you've already seen it. I want your comments below because there's so many great moments in this film. I think it's absolutely just an inspired piece of brilliance to me. Give it to me, guys. Let me know what you think. And there's always Patreon to contribute things around here every month. Every single video on the channel also has the Super Thanks feature. You contribute whatever you want. Give me a thanks to it. Contribute a little something. Go straight to me. And all these other things. Continue commenting, liking, subscribing, sharing links around, all this type of stuff. Thank you extremely much, guys. I think Prey is fantastic. So, guys, thanks so much. Take care. Bye-bye.